Hello, everyone, and welcome back to 3D Rivals, your first line of defense against stupid movies. My name is DJ, and as always, I'm joined by my co host, my sister Della,
What's up?
and my friend Dan.
What's going on?
And today, guys, we're going to be talking about Spider Man No Way Home, the third movie in the Spider Man trilogy in the I don't know, universe of Marvel. I was going to try and think of what you call like a 25 movie series, but I don't think there's a
Nothing.
name.
It's just a universe.
Yeah. But
A
yes,
collection.
a collection. I
Oh,
mean, actually,
okay.
that's kind of right. Yeah, a collection.
Mhm. Yep.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So,
Y'all,
yes, that is continuing on in the MCU, the next movie after Eternals. So what we're gonna do is a bit of a spoiler-free review first, and then we'll let you guys know when we're gonna have spoilers, so that there is no spoilers for you, because this is definitely a movie that you don't want to go into being spoiled. Even if you're one of those people that's like, oh yeah, I'm cool, I don't care about the spoilers, blah blah blah. No, to go into the movie without spoilers so you can get the full effect of it is what I say. Um, yeah, so with that being said, I'm gonna give my initial thoughts on the movie. If I were to say what my main likes about this movie, it's they definitely could have done things incorrectly here with as much as in this movie, because there's a lot in this movie. And I felt like they handled it very well, especially with all of the villains that you have in it. You got Green Goblin, Doctor Octopus, the Lizard, Sandman, Electro. They're all in this, and I guess it was kind of that fear that you were gonna get, Amazing Spider-Man 2 or Spider-Man 3 syndrome, which, yeah, had too many people in it and didn't work well. But I don't know. To me, it felt like the villains weren't just thrown in there. Most of them had a purpose throughout the movie, and it served well for the plot. And so I was not disappointed with that. I think they did a really good job with that. What did y'all think?
Yeah, I would agree. I think one of the things that this movie does right is by having that perfect balance with everyone in there. Like no one felt out of place. And I agree, going in, one of my fears in the movie was that it was gonna feel overcrowded, like they were doing too much. And this certainly wasn't that. I do feel that Sandman and the Lizard did get left behind, kind of almost to the point where it was like we didn't even really need them. But
Yeah,
even then, it still didn't feel too awkward with them in it. It's just that they did have a lot to do.
yeah, yeah. Which, in general, I mean, there's always going to be that with a few characters, especially when you have it so many. But like you said, because I agree, Sandman and the Lizard didn't, especially the Lizard. The Lizard
Hmm.
basically had nothing to do in this movie. But it's still it didn't
no
feel
spoiler
awkward.
though. Like I mean,
Is that a
Um,
spoiler? No.
Not a spoiler worth hiding. If okay, sorry, we spoiled the lizard
isn't
sucked
it
in this
though?
movie. My bad.
Okay, no. They everybody knows the Lizard's in the movie. Saying whether he's like worth it in the
I
movie,
think
it's not a
it's
spoiler.
fine.
I think that's fine.
I mean, on the level of popularity, I would say the Lizard and Sandman were just not as popular as obviously Doctor Octopus and Green Goblin, and of
Yeah,
course with Jamie Foxx playing Electro, it's like okay,
yeah,
let's go ahead and give these more so top notch actors
yeah,
the more more screen time and stuff like that. Of course, Sandman and Lizard are in there, kind of like you know, sidekicks or whatever, if you will, just to like fill some space in. But yeah, I expected them to focus more on Doc Ock and of course Green Goblin,
yeah.
definitely.
Speaking of top-notch actors, I'm gonna go over those three villains, and starting with Jamie Foxx, and then going up from there. Um, I think Jamie Foxx in this movie proves that you like no matter what actor you have to give them something to do in the movie, something that they can actually act on, because he's playing the same character in these two movies, but it was done much better in this movie than it was in Amazing Spider-Man 2. I don't know what they were doing over there at Sony at that point, but yeah, Um,
Yeah.
yeah,
I agree. In Amazing Spider-Man 2, he was kind of annoying and awful. And this one, it was 100 times better. Like, I feel like in this one, Jamie Foxx got to be Jamie Foxx. And I'm also glad that he wasn't blue. So that
yes,
was also points.
yeah.
Mm.
He looked much better just being a
Yeah.
normal person with yellow lightning.
Yes. It
Yeah,
definitely helps.
yeah. Um,
Feel it.
and then going from there, you have Alfred Molina back as Doctor Octopus. And again, I felt like he brought. Now he did really well in Spider-Man 2. Obviously, I think at the time we were like he was the best Spider-Man. Well, really, because we had Green Goblin, but we'll get to that. But he was part of the reason why Spider-Man 2 was so praised, right, at that time. And he definitely brings it in this too with the same attitude, same acting and everything that we had from there. So Alfred Molina did very well as Dr. Octopus. And I'll get into some of the other stuff in spoilers. But yeah, I thought like he brought it. Steph and Willem Dafoe as well. Like every time he's in the scene, he just like steals the scene at that point. And Willem Dafoe definitely brought it. I loved it. It was excellent.
Yeah, I think everyone brought their A game to this. Like there wasn't anyone like that was weird or awkward. It's like everyone like not only did they capture what they were in the original Spider-Man movies, but I think they also kind of like stepped it up to another level in this movie also. So where you still get that same feel we got what 10, 15 years ago in the original films.
Yeah.
But then for them to take that and then enhance it for this movie where it kind of feels like they felt just unnaturally part of the MCU and not like something that you borrowed from another film and like they didn't fit in.
Yeah.
I'm with that. I'm gonna go ahead and put my 2 cents in there. Yeah, what she said. I definitely got the vibe, especially when Doc Octopus hit the scene.
Mhm.
Definitely got the exact same vibe that you got when he was in Spider-Man 2.
Yeah.
With with Green Goblin, as soon as he flew in, exact same vibe. Now once they like kind of like I don't know what I would call it, but like once they like kind of snapped into like I say more modern times when they was well no, that would be a spoiler, I guess. That'd be a spoiler. We'll wait on that. We'll wait on that. But yeah, I got the same vibes from when as
Yeah.
soon as each character hit the scene, I got the same vibes from when they first got introduced.
Yeah, and now moving on, talking about some of our protagonists. Since we're talking about acting, I definitely think they gave Tom Holland enough to show more range in this than he has in the other Spider-Man movies, or even some of the other MCU movies that he has been in. And the movie did start when I was watching it. When it started, it felt just like Homecoming and Far From Home, and I was kind of sitting in the theater like, oh, okay. Look from the trailers, look like the movie's gonna have kind of a different feel, but this seems like more of regular Spider-Man. But then as the movie goes on, you can see kind of that shift in tone for the movie, and like Tom Holland definitely got to show more in this. Um, Before I move on to some of that other actors, what did y'all think about Tom Holland's performance in this?
It was great. The movie definitely had a lot more emotional depth to it than all the other movies to it, and it was definitely more like you get to see his character growth throughout the film, which was something nice. And it's just like, the lessons learned and like the decisions he made. So I thought like you said, like this was definitely where he starts off where it's like the same old person, same old, but then you do see the tonal shift in the film. So yeah, I would agree with you.
Yes, I definitely agree with that. Like you said, range. Yeah, all that emotion was pouring out. Like I really felt like, you know what I'm saying? Like he was feeling what he was trying to portray, and that's what actors do. You know what I'm saying? It's like
Yeah.
sometimes you got them actors that like he's not really sad. It's just like like you know how you can like tell that they're acting.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like it's more forced. Like for him, it just wasn't. It just didn't seem like it was forced. Like that emotion was like spot on for real. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I definitely like seeing that about him because the other movies it was just like just be a kid and you know what I'm saying be like a young teenage Spider-Man. It's like okay, we
Yeah.
get that, but in this one it was like a whole nother level of it. So
Yeah,
dig.
definitely. Definitely 100%. And yeah, especially at the when you were talking about when you were talking about the emotional range and seeing this most, especially at the end of the movie. I'm not gonna say like exactly because that's a spoiler, but at the end of the movie, you you kind of felt his emotions coming through on that um in that third act there. But yeah, and then talk about some of the supporting cast. You got Zendaya, Jacob Batalon, and Marissa Tomei. Zendaya and Marissa Tomei, I think they definitely gave them more to do in this movie compared to the other ones, and that was good to see because they're not just they're in the background as someone for Spider-Man to save, but they actually had played a part throughout the plot, and I think that was done well as well.
I think the whole film as a whole kind of like shifted, didn't follow the same formula that the first two did. Like you said, like everyone else in the films before were just side characters to Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm.
And this one was different where you felt like they were actually people that were a part of his life.
Mm-hmm.
So you cared about, what they were doing, what happened to him, and how he felt about that. So I think that yeah, I'm glad that those two definitely got a bigger role in this film. Um yeah. Yeah, it definitely made it feel different than the first two.
Yeah, yeah, 100%.
Right.
All right. What else do I want to talk about that's non-spoilers? Because I'm like, I really want to get into the spoilers for this movie.
We
Um,
have Doctor Strange, which was I think a pro and a con of this film.
mhm.
Pro because Doctor Strange is always kind of great. Benedict Cumberbatch just great in general. My con with it is just kind of more like a MCU issue, is
Okay.
that they don't know what to do with their powerful characters.
Oh, yeah.
And like they just kind of like, I mean, and I get in one way, if he was still in the movie ends in 15 minutes because he solves the problems. Done deal. And I kind of hate what they do that to him and Captain Marvel, is that they kind of find a reason for them to not be around.
Well, that's been a thing since X-Men, and this is why we call that getting Professor X. Because if Professor X is still around, then all the problems just get solved. So you have to find a way to take him out, and that's what
Yeah.
happens. I
Which
mean,
then it makes me say to myself, like, did we even need Doctor Strange to begin with?
well, I think with how they set up the plot, and everyone knows this because it was in the trailers. You know, the premise that kicks this movie off is Peter's trying to make people forget that he's Spider-Man, and he goes to Doctor Strange to do that. But because he is immature, he messes up everything, and that just causes all of it. And since that's the way they set it up, then you kind of need him in the movie. Um, but they were basing this off of a comics story, and I would rather it be Doctor Strange than the person that the movie's based off
Yeah.
of.
I guess since it's based off of a comic book story, then the answer is yes, they need Doctor Strange. I'm just wondering if there was a way to do this and not have Doctor Strange be the reason why the different universes come through. I don't know. I'm sure there's a way they could have done it, but you're right. Since it's based off a comic book, then Doctor Strange makes sense. I just I just hate when Marvel do this. They get this all powerful character, then it's like, well, we can't have them in a movie because then they solve the problem. So then they disappear until the third act.
Yeah,
So.
yeah, that's basically what happened. Yeah, yeah, I guess so. Yeah, the action in this movie I think was really good. Actually, and all the action scenes I think was actually really good. You had the initial scene that was in the trailers with Doctor Octopus coming up. That was really good. The scene that also was in the trailer with him fighting Doctor Strange, and then some of the later action scenes. Uh, definitely, definitely, I think they hit it out of the park with the action scenes in this movie. So if that's what you like in movies, I definitely would say go see it because it's got some pretty good action scenes with Spider-Man.
I agree. I think Spider-Man always the action scenes is good because I mean, it's Spider-Man. He's doing something that humans don't do, swinging around from buildings and doing all this flipping and acrobatic stuff and stuff like that. So it's like, yeah, whenever a Spider-Man movie come up, the action usually is kind of fits the bill. You know what I mean? But like you said, every scene that they did was like none of it seemed like lackluster, like a Green Arrow. I mean, not Green Arrow.
With Green
Hawkeye.
Lantern? Oh, Hawkeye.
Oh,
Oh.
Hawkeye. Like the fight scenes in Hawkeye.
Okay, yeah.
Like
The
how
first
they-
few episodes of Hawkeye, definitely the fight scenes.
Yeah.
were-
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like when they was fighting, it seemed like kind of slow or whatever. It just didn't seem real. But like in this one, yeah, the fight scenes seemed real, even though it was fighting things that aren't real.
I don't think
What
anybody
I'm
in the
saying.
fight scenes were actually there. But yeah, it did look good. Marvel generally does well with the way their movies look. So the movie definitely looked excellent. I mean, even Eternals looked good, even though it wasn't. So yeah, the movie definitely looked good. It is more than just like an action movie though. The movie definitely has a lot of heart in it, and I believe the story definitely brings everything full circle for Spider-Man, and it ends in a very, how do I want to say it? I think it ends well, especially for comic book fans of Spider-Man.
Okay.
Dig it.
Yeah. All right.
I take it someone disagrees.
I think the ending is fine. My issue with this movie is the plot. So
I can see actually an issue with the plot. I can understand that.
yes,
Although
that's my con.
I get it, and I think it's just because of how it kicked off, which everybody know with Doctor Strange. But I do think, even though that is kind of a plot issue, I think they kind of brought it in with everything else that they put in the movie. That it
Yeah,
kind of overshadows it.
I just feel like we could have not had that plot issue and still accomplish everything that the movie accomplished.
Hmm.
And that's where it's just like watching the movie, I just can't get out of my head like this is all kind of dumb. So
Agreed. And I don't think you're the only person that feels that. I guess I just am looking past it more because of the rest of the movie. But with that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and say, if you haven't seen Spider-Man No Way Home, go watch it. It is definitely a good watch. You definitely want to see this. Go see it in theaters if you can, where you are safely, and just check it out. It's an experience. It's one of those Marvel movies that's an experience. So it's really good.
Yeah, I would say go and see it at the theater if you can, because just to what I'm saying, vibe off everybody else's reaction and stuff like that. Because I did that. Although
are we gonna talk about those reactions?
there were some in the theater that took it a bit too far.
Always,
Bit too
my theater wasn't. My theater was actually quiet. They
As
weren't
it
one of
should
those
be.
groups. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I don't want it quiet, but I want to hear people, react, but not like that though.
We had some people that was trying to have some end game moments, and there were no end game moments in this movie.
See,
They were
that's the
trying really
thing.
hard.
People have been saying that those moments throughout theaters have been happening. So while you may disagree that there weren't in-game moments, apparently the audiences think there were.
I disagree because they were the only ones. If it was everybody, then fine.
Oh,
but they
I got
were the
you.
only ones.
I got
Just
you.
that back row.
Oh, it's
Just
just.
Just them.
I guess they went to the wrong
The guys
theater. They
that
should have
live
went
at
somewhere
home, mamas in the
else.
basement, we play video games all day long. Probably work at Best Buy. You know what I'm saying? Them.
That's
No shade to people who work at Best Buy.
no shade. No shade to people that play.
Wearing that
video
same
games.
white T-shirt all week, I bet. Starting to look a little yellow around
What?
the edges.
Oh my. Okay. Well, yeah. With that being said, go check out Spider-Man: No Way Home if you haven't seen it yet. It is very good, and it's going to be spoilers from here on out. So that is our spoiler warning. I'm going to say it again. There will be spoilers from this part of the podcast until the end. So if you haven't seen Spider-Man No Way Home, then don't listen to this part because there will be spoilers. I don't know how many times do you think I have to say it in order for people to actually hear it and not get mad because we spoiled the movie. I'm not sure.
You can't say it enough.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay. So, where do I want to start with the spoilers? Okay, so starting at the beginning of the movie, since it picks up right after Far From Home, this was the part where I was like, man, this is kind of the same, right, as the other movies. Didn't really seem to be changing. But we kind of got a quick run through of what's happening in Peter's life because everyone found out that he was Spider-Man. And he got a lawyer.
Yes.
With Matt Murdock. Yes. Which is like, that is awesome.
That was dope. Not surprising. I think we saw that coming from a mile away, but I do like that. Yes, in fact, they did bring in Matt Murdock. I also I think they did it well. Like it wasn't over the top. He fit nicely. He was in and out in less than a minute, and that's that.
Yeah.
Yeah, Della figured that out from the beginning of the movie. Like during the previews, she figured that out. That was gonna happen.
Shut up.
I was like, wow, that's pretty awesome.
Well,
was
they
I
were
confident
talking
that
about,
he would show up? Yes.
Yeah, they were talking about that over the internet. Here's the thing I will say that I wish about this movie, which I think it may have had more in-game like moments if we didn't have the internet. And there was one scene I wish they didn't show on the trailers because it gave something away. Not that botched Brazil scene because that was but yeah, no, another scene in the trailers I wish wasn't in there. I'll get to when we get to that part of the movie. But like, I wish we didn't have all of this and then all of the speculation and people leaking things online, because while I did feel a lot that from the stuff that happened, even with like Matt Murdock, it wasn't surprising. Like, imagine if I had no idea. I mean, I guess I didn't have I didn't know if he was going to be in a movie, but I kind of figured he was because of everything that everyone was talking about. So while it was cool, I don't think I was as excited as I would have been if it just came out of the blue.
I agree. Same thing with the other reveals too. It was just like you knew it was coming, so therefore it wasn't surprising. It was like, oh, okay, cool, this really is happening. But since there was all the internet speculation around it, it just kind of ruined the surprise.
Yeah. And I don't know, like with the trailers, what if they didn't show Dr. Octopus and Green Goblin? Now, I mean, do you get as many people coming to see this movie if you didn't? Now that, I don't know.
Yes.
Yes? Okay.
Yes.
So
they still don't see it.
Yeah, it's Spider-Man. Yeah, they're absolutely.
Okay.
So you're saying just show Dr. Octopus, saying show us Sandman since no one cares about that?
Don't.
And then surprise us with the big guys.
I'm saying don't show the villains from the other universes.
So make the whole universe a surprise?
Yeah, because then, like, imagine if you're in a, like, okay, when I saw that trailer, the excitement that I had from like, oh my God, it's Dr. Octopus and Green Goblin from the Sam Raimi universe. I'm like, yo, that's dope. Imagine if people were in the theater and you found that out. Like, that's why I wish sometimes it was like it was in the 90s where you didn't know anything.
What would they show?
I don't know.
There would be nothing to show.
I don't know.
Yeah, there would. Just show, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, all the parts where Spider-Man was showing like all that emotion, like, yeah, oh, yeah, ah, ooh, you know what I'm saying? Doing all that.
So just show him crying in the rain? That's it, the whole trailer is him crying in the rain?
His conversations with Dr. Evil, or, I mean,
Doctor Strange.
Or with
Dr. Evil.
Dr. Strange.
No, I gotta disagree with you guys on this. They absolutely had to show one of those people.
Okay, show one. Okay, then show one. Just do Dr. Octopus.
Yeah.
and then
Okay
let
with that.
all the rest of it be like, because that it would have been so much more of a surprise, I think.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, so we got Matt Murdock. That was cool. That also confirms. I mean, Kevin Feige already kind of confirmed it, but now it's solidified that Daredevil is in the MCU and it's still Charlie Cox playing him. So I want to know what they're going to do with that. I think he's going to show up in the She-Hulk show.
I believe that was the rumor. I felt like you knew Charlie Cox was coming when they already. Well, can we talk about Hawkeye?
Okay, yeah. Oh, okay. Spoilers for Hawkeye if you haven't seen it, but that was last week, so you're a little late. But go ahead.
Yeah. So I think as soon as Vincent D'Onofrio shows up, then I think that kind of guaranteed that Charlie Cox was going to show
Oh
up.
yeah. Now, but does that mean he's going to show up in this movie? Yeah,
No,
but
no, but I think like if they pulled him, then I feel like then you got to pull the other guy too.
yeah,
Yeah, and
definitely
I do believe. I think the rumor is he is going to show up in She-Hulk, which would be kind of cool. So,
would be kind of
uh,
cool. Now, I'm going to go on a slight tangent since we mentioned Kingpin. Norman Osborn in this movie mentioned that there was no Oscorp, right? And I mean that kind of you can't just automatic make a new Norman Osborn in the future after this. Like that's just weird. Where did this random person come from with money and he starts Oscorp? No. So there's no Oscorp, meaning like stuff like the Dark Avengers wouldn't be with Norman Osborn. In the last episode of Hawkeye, we found out that Yelena was hired by Kate Bishop's mother, who's working for Kingpin, and they sent Valentina to get Yelena. We saw that in the Black Widow movie. What if Kingpin is taking the place of Norman Osborn here, and he's the one trying to start this kind of Dark Avengers team?
so is Yelena and that what's his name, U.S. agent?
Mm-hmm.
Are they a part of the Dark Avengers?
U.S. agent is. I don't think Yelena's going to be. I think maybe they were trying to recruit her or whatever. But I think Yelena's probably going to be on the Avengers, the new Avengers.
Okay. Well, and I say like yeah, Kingpin replaces him. I think that's fine as a replacement. I was surprised for them to say that Norman Osborn didn't exist in this universe.
Yeah, that was surprising. I was like,
So
okay,
yeah, in that case, it has to be Kingpin because there's no one else that's on that level
yeah.
that could do something like that.
So that would be interesting because I think you do have a setup of a few of the Dark Avengers, or well, they were talking about the Thunderbolts too. You can kind of do a mixture of that, but a team of people that's supposed to be good, but they're not really.
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay, so Peter Parker messes up trying to make people forget, and I thought it was kind of silly, but after the fact, Doctor Strange is like, okay, well, you went to him and they wouldn't take you. You just gotta accept it, and he's like, oh, I didn't appeal it, and I'm like, you didn't think of that before you tried
Yeah,
to make everyone forget about you. Like,
I think they did a good job of showing Peter's immaturity,
yeah,
which is why I feel like it also gave a good reason for Doctor Strange to be like, I'm kind of fed up with you because feel like I'm dealing with a child,
yeah,
and he is. But I think this did go a long way to show his image because it's like basically you went to like step 11, where the next step would have been try to call and plead your case,
right,
and he went to like the very end. So yeah, it's kind of dumb of him, but yeah.
yeah, yeah, it was. All right, so okay, we already know that brings in all the villains. Um, we see this in the trailer. So when Doctor Octopus attacks him and he gets the nanobots, did anyone see coming that like Spider-Man would just be able to control the arms now? He's like, oh well, I could just control. I did not see that coming. I was like, oh, that's how they resolve this
I'm like, oh,
issue.
than he was before because now he's got Spider-Man's tech on him. That's what I figured.
Yeah.
I was
I'm
like, oh,
thinking, well, that was easy. Like, like why are these nanobots just like, oh, we'll just attach ourselves to this thing?
Yeah. Well, um I think Dr. Octopus kind of absorbed them or something because like it was nanotech, and so he's like, oh, I can use this. But Spider-Man's in control of the nanobots, so it was kind of like, well, okay, well then now I can control it. It kind of just double back, I guess. Which I didn't see that coming. I thought that was pretty interesting. But that's not where the movie really gets started. I think the movie
No, it's
gets.
only.
Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say it's after he captures everyone within 10 seconds,
Yeah.
and then he does the dumbest thing ever, and everyone gets free, and then the movie really gets going.
Yes, that's where the movie picks up. So, I mean, the premise is, Peter he captures all of them. He learns that most of them die fighting Spider-Man. Not all. Lizard didn't die, and Sandman didn't die. So, but most of the other ones died fighting Spider-Man in their movie. So if they send them back, they're going to die. Now, this is partially Aunt May's affecting him and stuff, but she's like, when we can help people, we need to. So his idea was to cure them and then send them back. Now that Della mentions it, how come he couldn't leave them in the cages
Yeah,
and then figure out a cure for each one?
yeah,
Because he
like,
takes
why?
them all out.
Yeah, because he takes them to Happy's condo, and I'm like, why not just grab the box from Happy's condo and take them back to Doctor Strange's basement? Like, why did you have to go on this field trip
Yeah.
to use the machine? You could have brought the machine to you, especially when you're dealing with villains.
Right.
Like, these people who had all fought Spider-Man for a reason. That's just like some of the logic in this was and then I know like Amaze like, oh, we can help when we can, but when it got out of hand, dude, press the button, send them back. Just
yeah.
done.
Yeah, when things started getting out of hand, and it was at that apartment that things started getting out of hand. One thing I have to say, this was a very cool visual of his spider sense. I think the first time we really got this kind of visual of it in the MCU, and I thought that was cool. Like, you actually felt it in that scene where he's standing there and he can tell that something's wrong. Like, one of them is plotting something, and it's like he's just going like looking around the room until he figures out it's Norman Osborn. But yeah, that's where it goes south.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It does. Yes. So can we just skip to the part we all want to talk about, right?
When
Okay.
Aunt May dies?
Yes.
Aunt May dies. Oof.
That
And
one upset me.
I like the way they did it because it was kind of speculated on the internet. Again, I kind of wish.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't see that part.
It was
Okay.
they were like either Mary Jane or Aunt May or Ned were gonna die in this. So, and they kind of had the trailers with her running in the same building where Peter was trying to catch the bomb. So it was like, did she get blown up by Green Goblin? The way they played it, because she got up. Because at first I was like, oh, she died, and then she got up, right? And I'm like, oh,
Like nothing.
okay, all right, she's good. I was like, man, I thought she was gonna die, and then she died. So I was like, oh no.
I was gonna be because it's like I'm like she got hit pretty hard by that glider, so
Yeah.
for her to just
Yeah.
pop up like that. I mean,
The
she
entire
might take
time
a
I
hit.
was like, you might want to take her to the hospital. She's like, oh, I'm fine. I'm like, there's no way you get up from that and be fine.
Mm.
Like, because isn't the glider what killed Green Goblin in the first place?
Yes, he really likes hitting people with that glider.
So
He
if
did
he
it again
dies by his
in the later in the
glider,
movie.
yeah. So, but I thought that scene was done really well, and I thought it kind of allows Peter to kind of get that advice he never gotten in
Yeah.
the first two movies
Yeah.
about, the responsibility he needs to take of being a superhero, which kind of also leads himself to the end of the movie too, where he realized it was better to leave Ned and MJ alone.
Yeah. Yeah.
And just like, it sucks for him because now he is truly alone, but he realized like the best thing for him is to just leave.
Yeah.
So
I think it fixes an issue a lot of people had with the MCU Spider-Man, because what a lot of people were saying, especially when you base it off of the comics, is, well, why is Spider-Man doing this? He's just doing this because he's an Iron Man fan. Like, he doesn't, his motivation wasn't fully fleshed out in the other movies, and now you get that, because in the comics, Spider-Man, even though he already had his powers, he doesn't really become Spider-Man until Uncle Ben dies, because of what Spider-Man did. And that's the important thing. Uncle Ben didn't just die, he died because of Spider-Man. And then that's what kind of changed him to realize, when you have a responsibility, like,
Yeah.
you have to do it. And so he had this with Aunt May, and I'm actually glad they gave it to her. It's a change from the comics, but I'm glad they gave it to her. It was a strong scene. You did actually feel her death when she died in the movies. It wasn't just nothing. You felt that. And yeah, you felt that change in Spider-Man, where yes, it was his fault that Aunt May died. Green Goblin said it later on, and while he's a jerk, he's not wrong. He's like, I killed her, but it's because of you
Yeah.
that she was there in the first place, that I was there in the first place. So yeah, that kind of gives you that growth, which I thought that was a really good scene.
Yeah. I think by the end of this movie, he comes the Spider-Man that we know,
Yeah.
that you kind of all expected. It's like kind of sucks that like this is the last Spider-Man movie, because it would be nice to see where he really goes from here.
Sony did say they're going to do another Tom Holland trilogy. Although Tom Holland said if he's 30 and still doing Spider-Man, then he's doing something wrong. I don't know. I don't know.
But see, the thing is,
They
I don't
paying.
want
Yeah.
to. Right. I don't want to see Sony's Tom Holland trilogy.
Do you
I'll be
think he's
down.
not going to be in the MCU?
I think he might show up in a movie or two, but he won't be a major player. No,
Then that does kind of
'Cause I-
suck. I kind of
I
want them
think
to
his
continue
contract is
this.
up. Yeah. So
Well,
I mean,
if this
if they-
movie makes a ton of money, then that can always change plans.
it is making a ton of money, but if he doesn't want to be 30 and doing it, then he only has like 5 years, and movies takes a long time to make.
Yeah, true. Very true.
One
Well, how
more
long has he
Tom
been
Holland.
Spider-Man? When did
One
Civil War come out?
2018?
That was 2018? No, it had to be before then.
2016?
I want to say 2015 for real.
The American Civil no. uh,
It must have
2016.
been 2016. Yeah, I was like, it had to be
Okay,
2016.
so it's only been 5 years. So he would just do the same thing, 5 more years. And that wasn't even when his first movie came out. So there's time.
I mean, come on now. Robert Downey Jr. did it forever, man.
It's true. I think Robert Downey Jr., when his contract was up, didn't he renew, because he said he's just gonna ride this until like the end of his character?
Yeah, he did. But I don't know. It sounds like Tom Holland doesn't really want to do that though.
Nah. I feel like he would do it.
Well, then I also don't want them to just put him in a movie. I think he has to be in a place that fits. And for the movie that's upcoming, I'm not sure what movie that would be.
Yeah. Well, I want remember the Spider-Man movies are kind of on Sony's time too, so like they get like inserted in to Marvel when they come out. But I think, well, I'll talk about what they could probably do with the character a little later, once we finish talking about the rest of the movie. After Aunt May dies, this is where we get into the third act, and we get the worst kept secret ever of Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire showing up in the movie.
Yes. Even though we all knew it was coming, I think they were introduced well.
Mhm.
And one of the things I was afraid of in this movie that they weren't going to fit well, especially since they're a little older.
Mhm.
But no, I thought they were done really well. I thought that the three of them on screen together, they all had good chemistry together. It was fun to see them all together. Even the fight scenes were done well. So even though we all knew it was coming, I was pleasantly surprised about how it was done.
Yeah. I was still happy when Andrew Garfield like took his mask off, and I was like, yeah, that's like, yes, thank you. I don't know, it was done well.
Some guys that were happier than you were.
Yeah. Yeah, some people were thrilled that
It was like,
Andrew Garfield.
yes.
Really? So
Yes.
here's the thing: that would be an in-game reaction if we didn't already know, right? Like we
Yep.
already know. Andrew Garfield denied it. Like, look, I give him credit. He denied it till the end. But come on, we all knew they were in the movie. Like, so if we had no idea at all, and then all of a sudden they popped up in the movie, yeah, maybe that would be some in-game Captain America gets Mjolnir excitement, right? But come on, you knew he was in the movie.
Yeah.
They would have
It-
dropped Miles Morales in there somewhere. And
Nah,
that would have
see,
been
that-
it.
That would have been like,
though.
yeah.
That would have blew me away. I probably would have been like, yeah. But nah, yeah, we kind of already knew that coming. But I agree with Della. They were introduced like in a cool way. Like I actually liked dang it, the older one.
Tobey Maguire.
Totally.
I actually liked when he came in, but he didn't have his Spider-Man suit on. I was like, all right, that's kind of cool. Don't bring them both in their Spider-Man suits, and then it's kind of like a little bit too expected. But he came in without it on. But then later on, he revealed, yeah, what I'm saying, he got it underneath his what did dude call it? His
Youth
cool
pastor.
youth
Pastor.
his cool youth pastor outfit. So yeah, I thought that was cool. That was cool.
It was
And
really
the back and forth between all three of them was cool too.
Yeah, it was really cool
Yeah.
to see him in the movie. I like the opening scene when Andrew Garfield and like MJ is like, proof you're Spider-Man, and he's like hanging on the wall, and he's like, this is enough. She's like, no, crawl. And he's like, no, this is enough, and it is. Like he's literally sticking on the wall.
It was.
I think it's enough.
Yeah, who else does that?
I like how they already knew that. I mean, they should have. With the time that have passed, they knew they were in a different universe. And Tobey Maguire, he's like, I feel like I need to help him. And I like that it's older Tobey Maguire, so you got Tom Holland, and he gets to learn from these more experienced Spider-Man, which is exactly what he needed. I definitely like that. And they had a really good scene on the roof of the school with them kind of bringing him out of the funk that he was in after Aunt May died, and kind of like trying to explain to him that he has to be able to build up from this and move on from that, and not to become just a vengeful person.
I thought it was great, and I think it was great that because they are older, it's like, okay, they've been Spider-Man for a while, and that there was a lot of lessons that they learned, and since they've all experienced a loss, and it was be able to tell them like the way not to handle it, but also that you can move on from this.
Yeah.
So I think that scene on the roof was nice. It was very touching, and you could see, how that shapes Tom Holland's Spider-Man.
Yeah.
So I thought that was done very well and nice. And yeah, just honestly, I think I like just about everything with all three Spider-Mans, honestly.
Yeah, it was good. Dan mentioned the banter between them, which there's a lot of fan service in this, and I think it didn't take away from the movie. I think it was done well, especially with the Spider-Man, and I think that was excellent. Especially like they're talking about Tobey Maguire and his organic webs.
So how do you just like, does it come out of anywhere else?
It's like, I don't know why we talk about this. It's like, well, we can't do that, so.
I was wondering if they was going to address that in the movie too. I'm like, cause yeah, he's the only one that doesn't have to make web fluid in a lab.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was wondering if they was going to address that, and they did. And I was like, yeah, cool.
Yeah, that was.
I do
that
feel
was
like
pretty
that's kind
cool.
of like, necessary for Spider-Man, because spiders do make their own webs.
Yeah, but they don't shoot it out their
Yeah,
wrists though.
Yeah.
Huh?
So, they
They
shoot
don't
it
come
out
out
their
their-
mouths and the other end.
Their butts.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. So I think that's a valid question. It's like, where does the web come out of? Because real spiders.
He was like, no, just my wrist. He's like, All right. No, this having all three, and this was one of the things we were talking about. Like, this could have been done horribly, but I think they nailed it. They like, if you were going to do this, I think they nailed it with having all three Spider-Man in the movie. Like, and they didn't just feel thrown in there. Like, they had a purpose in the movie, and like they felt like they serviced the plot well.
Yeah, it was done well. I think like you get to see them all like working together and solving the problems. Like the chemistry between them was good, the banter between them was good. And then even in the part when they first started fighting, but they weren't all on the same page,
Yeah.
which was I thought was like great to bro. Like, yeah, we're all Spider-Man, but it's like, you know, you don't know how to be on a team. And then I thought it was also great was like the Avengers doesn't exist in their universe.
Yeah. They're like, oh, what's the Avengers?
Oh yeah, awesome.
Yeah,
What's
there are
that?
no other superheroes in their universe, right? It's just them.
Yeah, it's just them.
Yeah, well, it's just like, well, that was an end credit scene, but Venom said the same thing. He was like, there are a bunch of super people.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's that was done really well. I liked how in that Tom Holland got to say, well, yeah, I've been on the team. I can show you guys what to do.
Yeah. Yeah. Gave him a chance to lead where he wasn't just where he stopped being like that child before and then became a leader.
Yeah.
Which is cool.
Very cool. All right, so we're into the final battle where they're just trying to cure it. So they're getting the villains to get there so they can cure them to send them home. I think it was done well. This is a scene I think they shouldn't have put in the trailers.
The end?
Yeah. Like, we
I would
already
agree.
know the villains are there. Like, the final fight scene, I think they maybe should have saved it. Maybe they wouldn't have had that botched lizard getting hit by nothing trailer shot.
I agree that that it didn't need to be done. Like they should have took a page out of Endgame where the Endgame trailer was basically like the first 10 minutes of the movie.
Yeah, no, I think for the most part they did that, right?
Yeah.
Most of the trailers were only like first half hour of this movie, but then they did put those ending shots in, and you know, you have that editing mistake. I'm pretty sure that person's fired. But the one scene I was talking about I really wish wasn't in there was MJ falling off of the Statue of Liberty. And here's the reason why. Because we already knew that Andrew Garfield was in the movie, and you had MJ falling in the same way that Emma Stone, Gwen Stacy, thank you. Gwen Stacy was falling. Everybody's like, okay, well, Andrew Garfield's gonna catch her. It's a redeeming moment.
Yes.
And he did.
I agree. Yes.
Which
it was But it was great because he got to cry about it and everything because he couldn't save his girl, but he saved this one.
Yeah.
How touching.
I think it was well done. Like, you couldn't have anyone else save her other than Andrew Garfield. Like, obviously. And I think it was well done. You still feel the scene because like you said, you know, he's a little upset. Like, he's happy and sad at the same time because he saved her, but you know, he's like, I didn't get to save Gwen Stacy. That was rough the way she died.
I mean, that's not funny, but yeah.
Yeah. You know, my wife said her friend was laughing.
That was rough. Like that was a oof.
What?
Yeah.
When Gwen Stacy died?
Yeah, she said her friend laughed when Gwen Stacy died. I was like, what do you mean her head slapped the ground? Like, it.
Is her friend jealous of Gwen Stacy?
I don't
He's
know.
a psychopath.
Yeah, I was like, no, that was a rough death. Like, even as much as
was
I
ugly.
hate that movie, that scene, actually, that was a really well shot scene with him trying to catch her and then failing in the end.
Man,
Yeah.
I remember having it rough.
Yeah, he does. Well, I think that's what makes Spider-Man Spider-Man. He's supposed to have it rough. Like, nothing goes well for him. Yeah, so you got that. A lot of really good scenes with the Spider-Man, and then Ooh, so Green Goblin's the reason why Tom Holland couldn't catch MJ because he hit him with his glider. He really likes doing that. What's his deal?
I told you.
Eh,
His favorite thing to do.
I know, it's just like throwing gliders at people. So, him killing Aunt May, and I think him, almost killing MJ, just, I think that kind of made Tom Holland Spider-Man angry. I don't know what gave it away, but he was, not holding back in this fight.
He was going in, and I'm like, yes, like,
Let him do it, man.
I'm like, let him do it.
I think like at the start of the fight, and when he like throws the punch and misses and hits the Captain America shield and like does damage to the shield, I was like, oh, this is not going to end well for Green Goblin. Like it was just like, oh, okay. And somebody's like fighting for real when like they throw a punch and the rest of their body follows afterwards. Like he was swinging like that, like just whole body moving after he connects the punch. I'm like, oh my goodness. Yeah, he was going in with the intent to kill him.
Yeah.
That's it. Let him do it.
I agree. I think they should have just like, I mean, I guess it kind of defeats the purpose because
Nope.
Tobey Maguire was like, I did the same thing with the guy who killed my Uncle Ben, blah, blah, blah. But I'm like, you know what though? Green Goblin calls all of this.
What's
just take him
wrong
out.
with y'all? The whole great power, great responsibility thing. Okay?
Send him back dead. Send him back dead.
Responsible. He was
Dead already. Send him back.
irresponsible the entire movie. You can learn responsibility at another point.
Oh, after he murders someone. Okay. Besides, he was already blamed for murdering somebody that he didn't murder.
But no one knows who Green Goblin is, so they obviously won't care that much.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, somebody would have got it on camera.
Yeah,
Ain't worry about
that and I mean, obviously all the cops were at the condo and couldn't get to the Statue of Liberty or something. I guess because it's an island or something, but whatever. So
couldn't fly over
no
it?
one would.
Helicopter?
They weren't there, so I'm guessing the cops didn't care that the Statue of Liberty was just getting blown up.
True.
Right.
Why are they putting their
They
Captain
like
America
it.
shield on the Statue of Liberty? I don't know.
I don't know. It was kind of weird. I'm like, they do realize there were other people that fought in Endgame, right?
No, Captain America, man. Okay. He's the icon.
Okay, but what about Tony Stark and Black Widow?
Tony Stark
Where
is the
is-
one that actually saved everybody and
Yes.
sacrificed his life. So
And
yeah.
he died. Remember,
And Black
Captain
Widow
America.
too. Yeah.
Yeah. Remember, Captain America left. He
You
said,
should put the arc reactor on the chest.
Oh, an arc reactor. Oh, that would be dope. Put an arc reactor in the Statue of Liberty.
and then what
Oh.
do they do for Black Widow?
Oh, I don't know.
Give it red hair.
I knew you were going to say that. I knew you were going to say that. I just think it's a little weird that like Captain America gets a musical in the Statue of Liberty. Did y'all see the musical sign in the movie?
Yes. So it is directly tied into Hawkeye. Also, at the end of the movie, he swung by the square, like Rockefeller Park, right?
Rockefeller's, yeah.
Mhm.
Rockefeller Center.
Center. Yes, thank you. I better in this last episode of Hawkeye, we better look up and see Spider-Man swing by because I was like, this is the same scene, right? Like, this is the same scene, right?
I don't know, man. Maybe.
I mean, that's all they gotta do. It'd be kind of cool to be like, oh, okay, there was Spider-Man. All right, onwards with the rest of the plot of Hawkeye. But that's another thing that makes me think they will continue him in the MCU. There are more stories to tell with Spider-Man.
There is, but I believe right now he doesn't have a contract for it, so they would have to. And then I don't know what the Sony, Disney, Marvel kind of deal is with this either.
If Sony was smart, they would continue doing stuff with Marvel.
You would think.
Right.
Because let's be real, Let There Be Carnage wasn't that great. I mean, like, I enjoyed it, but was it Spider-Man No Way Home? No, not even close.
From the trailers, it looks like Morbius might be Sony's. No, okay.
I want to see Morbius. I think it's probably going to be good, but I mean, come on. We've been let down by Sony before. Let's be real. And then, like, what makes me think it's going to be a problem? Look at Morbius, okay? In the trailers, there was a picture of Spider-Man, right?
Yeah.
And you had Michael Keaton's Vulture in there, right? And at the end of the trailer, he said, I'm Venom. Oh, no, I'm kidding. So what universe does this take place in? Because guess what? Spider-Man doesn't exist in Venom. That was confirmed in this movie that Spider-Man doesn't exist in the Venom universe. But Morbius is referencing both universes, and it has a picture of Spider-Man. The Tobey Maguire Spider-Man at that. That's the picture that was in the trailer. So they're all over the place. They're all over the place.
Is this going to be Homecoming again when it's like 8 years later, and it's like, this was definitely not 8 years later? It just, people just aren't paying attention.
Yeah, we just ignore the 8 years later on Homecoming.
Yeah, so then we just, one, I don't understand why Vulture would even show up in this movie.
Like, I wanted to tie it in and all that. At first, that just made us think like, oh, somehow this is all going to move to the MCU, right? But obviously not, because at the end of this movie, everybody went back to their universes.
Yes.
Except for a piece of Venom, which was in the post-credit scene.
Yes. Maybe that's just the MCU saying, like, we don't want this. And then Sony can do whatever they want, but the MCU is like, absolutely not. Like, you could do your thing, but these people do not belong in our universe.
It's not going to work by themselves. I don't think Sony's going to make a great one. Everyone can keep mentioning Into the Spider-Verse. It's not the same thing. It's not the same thing. It's a cartoon.
Huh.
No.
Anybody think it was maybe like a little bit weird that Tobey Maguire and Tom Holland didn't mention that they both know the same Jonah Jameson?
They don't. Jameson was not in the. Oh, you said Tom Holland.
Tobey Maguire and Tom Holland.
Oh well, no.
Maybe they get to watch the TV.
Nobody got to watch the TV?
Or maybe Tobey Maguire just looked and was like, oh, that's this world's version of Jameson.
Yeah, it might not be so weird because they were already comparing about things that were similar.
Yeah.
Right, they each had an MJ, but the MJ was different.
MJ was different.
Well, actually, Andrew Garfield didn't have an MJ. He never met Mary Jane.
He had
Gwen Stacy.
Yeah.
Oh, do you think that's the end of Zendaya and Jacob's Batalon's characters?
Yes, I know Ned in the comics becomes a villain. However, I don't picture Jacob Batalon as that villain.
Yeah, I can't really see. Yeah, he's supposed to be Hobgoblin. I don't
see it.
I mean, maybe they can turn that some way, but I don't see it. And then I feel like the end of this movie has more weight if they don't end up knowing each other again. At least maybe if you do it at the end of the next trilogy, then I'll be okay with it, I guess. But like, it can't be next movie and there's MJ and now she's with Peter again. It's like, no, this has got to stick.
Yeah, I think it ended perfectly, like with him realizing that they were better off without him.
Mm-hmm.
And I wouldn't want that something to change in the next movie.
Yeah.
Like, cause like, I think it's kind of like how they said like MCU movies, like it has no real consequences. And I feel like this is something that would have to stick. Like, you lost your best friends.
Yeah. He lost everything.
He lost everything. He has nothing.
Yeah.
And I think it would even be better for it to stay this way, because then let's say if they did continue on, that gives you the perfect opportunity to introduce people like the Black Cat and like that character I really want to see in the movies, which maybe we don't if there's no more Spider-Man. But
I was saying, and I know Sony wanted to do a Black Cat. I would rather have that in the Marvel Universe than the Sony whatever they're doing.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's what I was going to say. I think this gives us an opportunity. Not only is Spider-Man at where we normally find him as a superhero. He doesn't have any Stark tech. He's got to try and survive on his own. College level Spider-Man. That's generally where we see him. That's where he is in the 90s cartoon.
Mhm.
And that's where he is in the Sam Raimi films and also the Amazing Spider-Man films. So it's kind of a reboot, a soft reboot of Spider-Man. Like if they continue it, it is because it's like the beginning point. Nobody knows who Peter Parker is. They know there's a Spider-Man, and that's it.
Yeah. Only thing I think was missing from the ending was him getting a job at the Daily Bugle.
Mm-hmm. Or
Like I
or that
thought,
guy coming in asking for rent.
yeah.
Rent.
Well, they did say don't be late, but they didn't. They never showed him. They just told people.
It should have been
that.
that guy. I would have been so
Yeah.
that would have been my end game moment there. I would have been happy. Yes, it's the rent guy.
Rent. Yeah, he was. But yeah, that would have been dope though.
Yeah.
Classic apartment though, 1 bedroom, like
That's
literally
not a
1
bedroom.
room.
It was
That's
one
a-
room, yeah, in New
One
York
room.
City, so it makes sense.
It was like $2,500 a month.
No, $2,500 gives you a separate bedroom, I think.
You sure?
Almost.
No, man. In
Wait,
Manhattan.
it all depends. In Queens, yes, I believe it gives you a separate bedroom in Queens.
All right, is he still in Queens? I don't know where Rockefeller Center is.
That's Manhattan, right?
Manhattan.
Okay.
Yeah,
It's
but he doesn't
Manhattan.
live in Rockefeller. Oh wait, was that Rockefeller Center?
Yeah, he
So
flew
he
hopped out
over
of
the
his
Christmas
window?
tree. He jumped out his
Wait a
window,
minute.
swung a little bit, and then he went past the Christmas tree in the ice cream ring.
How long was he swinging before we got there?
Whatever. It was close.
It wasn't that long.
I'm saying, like in Queens, I think 2,500 gives you not 2 bedrooms. That's ridiculous. Gives you a separate bedroom. If he lives close to Rockefeller Center, then yeah, I don't think he does.
Okay.
Spider-Man lives in Queens.
Also, I think Marvel gave him this suit because everyone talked about how the Andrew Garfield costume was the most comic accurate, and I think Marvel just wanted to take that.
Oh, did you think it was too shiny? I thought it was too shiny.
It was bright, but I guess that was more Spider-Man like because Spider-Man suits are usually
Oh,
brighter.
That blue was bright though. I was like,
Yeah, but it
all right.
definitely looked like the cartoon Spider-Man, the comic Spider-Man.
Yeah, it
Where
did.
did he learn how to sew? May doesn't really look like a sewer.
And it made him look. I don't know. I wonder, does he
I mean,
keep the
Tobey
little
Maguire's
moving
suits are
eyes though?
together.
I want him to keep those.
I'm sure they probably do.
Okay.
I mean, he is smart.
Yeah, just take it out of the old suit. What happened to his old suit anyway? It wasn't ruined at the end of the movie.
I think he just wanted a fresh start. Is that so wrong?
Yes.
Okay.
No, it's fine.
Completely get rid of that.
Yeah. Okay, where does Spider-Man go from here? Now, Della mentioned Black Cat, and I was gonna say since we don't have MJ and we already did Gwen Stacy, and we can't kill her again, and that's all Gwen Stacy exists for, unless you make her Spider-Woman. You can only go one or two routes with that.
Okay.
What? No, this Gwen Stacy. So she's got like when she was in Amazing Spider-Man, we all like she's gonna die eventually because that's what happens to Gwen Stacy.
Didn't know that, so it was surprising for me.
Oh yeah, no, I didn't know she was gonna die in that movie, but I definitely knew they were gonna kill her at one point because.
Oh, okay.
And it's
Well,
always Green
that's
Goblin. Green
impressive.
Goblin kills her,
Oh, okay.
and then he blames Spider-Man like he did in this movie.
Nice.
Yeah. So I would say, like you said, Della, Black Cat. I think this would be a perfect opportunity to kind of introduce that love interest for Spider-Man.
I would agree. I especially like I think she's such a great character and we don't get enough of her.
Yeah.
Or we haven't gotten her at all. We asked where does she go from here? Like I don't know enough of Spider-Man comic book stories to know is there a storyline that I want to see? Because I feel like, at least from what I remember from the cartoons, a lot of his storyline involves other characters.
Well, Spider-Man
But
does work with other characters a lot. But what I don't want to see is I don't want to see the Lizard. I don't want to see Green Goblin. I don't want to see Sandman. None of the villains we've done already. Let's just not do them.
I agree. Like, and they don't even have to. He has so many. There's no reason to go back to that.
Yeah. We have Kingpin now, so a Spider-Man Kingpin story with Daredevil. Come on.
Yeah. Yeah.
We can see that.
It's kind of a no-brainer, but I don't know if Sony will do it. They suck at everything.
Man, they'll make another. That movie will get just as much as this one. If you have Kingpin and Daredevil in the movie, the hype behind that would be huge.
I would want it to not suck.
I was like, they'll do it, but will they do it right?
Yeah.
Or make it a Daredevil movie with Spider-Man in it. There you go.
Done by Sony?
No, that would be Marvel.
Oh, okay. Because I'm like, no to that.
No, if it's a Daredevil movie, it's Marvel.
Okay.
Also, you can go the video game route. What if they used Mr. Negative? That is kind of a character that you don't see a lot of, and it could be interesting.
I don't know who that is.
Did you play the video game?
You know I didn't finish it. Come on.
How far didn't you get? Because he's the main villain of the video game.
Oh, well, not far. I got done with the museum. When he's like, oh, okay.
All right then.
Me.
Well, yeah, I think doing villains like that would be would be interesting to do. Like, just not the typical villains you see, you know.
Yeah.
I think that would be interesting. But we'll see where they go with it. Hopefully it remains in the MCU. We'll find out. I think if this movie makes a ton of money, it will, because, you know, Disney likes money, so.
It's making a ton of money.
Yeah.
It's gonna make money. I mean,
it already did.
Doubts that.
Yeah.
All right.
Weekend.
So are we gonna rate it, rank it, or rate it?
Wait a minute, aren't we skipping steps? What is wrong with you guys?
Oh, I'm sorry. Interesting facts, movie facts.
Yeah,
No, I mean,
we got
movie facts.
all right. Goodness. Look, I know you loved it, but I got some nitpicks. But before that, random movie facts. Okay, you talked about whether or not this movie will make some money. It opened up with 253 million, which makes it the third best.
Wow.
Yep.
253.
Yeah. So yeah, it's money's not the issue here if they decide they want to continue or not.
And I know I want to see it again, so I know people are going to see this more than once.
They're going to get more of my money.
Yeah.
Anybody want to go with me?
Yeah, man. I'll see it a third time.
Oh my goodness.
I would though, like real talk. I would go see it again.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm gonna bring.
This is one of those that I'm definitely buying. Like, I have Endgame. I've never actually used the disc for Endgame. I have it. I've never watched it off of.
But why buy it if you have Disney Plus?
This is a Sony movie. Oh wait, no, Sony entered a deal. They did. They did enter a deal that they'll put it on Disney Plus. It's not right away though. It has to go through Netflix and Amazon first, and then it goes to Disney Plus. I think that's how it is.
All right.
So
this
not necessarily buy it.
Yeah,
I still buy
you're gonna get it unless you just really want to see this again. Apparently, you do. All right, this is the third longest MCU movie behind Endgame and Eternals.
It didn't feel
which I
that
thought
long.
was great. Exactly what I was about to say. At no point did it feel long, so that's good. Yeah. This takes place in the fall and winter of 2024, which is just before Hawkeye shows up. So, you know, Hawkeye maybe should have hopped to New York a little bit quicker after Spider-Man destroyed it. But
yeah, maybe help him out with some of the villains attacking people. Where were the Avengers? Where, like,
there are no Avengers.
Where's the new Captain America?
He's probably in Louisiana. doing whatever he does.
All right.
There are no Avengers.
Fighting.
Oh, yeah, there are no Avengers.
Yeah, the only thing is, does Daredevil show up to help, or he just so self-centered? He's like, whatever. This ain't got nothing to do with me.
Well, no, I mean, I guess they wouldn't show up. Like, they might have showed up when they attacked the bridge, but that wasn't that long. And then, like, none of it was that long for them to show up. And I don't think Daredevil can quickly get to the Statue of Liberty. He was probably on his way, and then it was over. And he was like, oh. All right, okay.
Okay. So after that, just a few stuff. Alfred Molina was de-aged to match his looks from the original movie. And that was it for my random movie facts. I do have a couple of nitpicks.
Okay. We mentioned some in our review, but all right.
We did mention some. I talked about Doctor Strange being conveniently locked away.
You got Professor X.
Yes, he got Professor X. The MIT lady, she couldn't get out that car. I felt like she had plenty of opportunities to get out that car.
Yeah, climb up to the front seat and unlock the doors.
She was
complaining. She wasn't too old.
Did it have a child lock? Couldn't she just physically unlock it?
And then when she tried to open the door, the door was stuck between that and the concrete barrier.
There's another door.
And then I'm like, well, then just scoot over to the other end of the car and open that door.
Right.
It didn't make any sense. She's putting herself in danger.
This wasn't the only door on the car. It's not. You got 3 more. Either that or kick some glass out or something.
Yeah.
How badly do you really want to get out the car?
Or she could have climbed to the front seat and got out of those doors since the people in the car got out of there. So
yeah, her driver definitely bounced on her.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he's fired.
Bounced.
Yeah. Okay. So I know it wouldn't have made a difference, but he even tried to get Aunt May to the hospital. Like, I guess she's gonna die regardless, but I was just like, yo, just snatch her up and swing to the nearest hospital or something.
Yeah, she would have died while he was on the way. But no, I got you. I was mad at the DOD or Department of Damage Control. I missed the C there. But why? Like, obviously, he was in there and somebody was dead, and they're just running all in and where'd he go? Oh, hands up. I'm like, what is wrong with you?
What was that? Like, they actually shot him, and I was like, what? Like, I was just like, oh, okay, we just opened fire on people now? That's cool.
And I was like, and when did Spider-Man... He's not a villain. Why are you running and shooting at Spider-Man? This was resolved, right? Because Matt Murdock was like, none of these charges are going to stick. And this was months after that, so none of the charges stuck. He's not a wanted person. So why are you running and shooting at Spider-Man?
Because I guess they blamed him for the condo, which, okay, fine. But does that mean you get to shoot him, though?
No.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
I don't think so either. Okay. So this next one, which is my last one, is not a nitpick per se. It's just I'm trying to understand how this universe thing works.
Okay.
So he's like, I can cure them and then send them back. When in time in their universe do they go back? Do they go back in the midst of fighting Spider-Man? Because they all have a memory of fighting Spider-Man and dying. So if he sends them back, are they going back in the middle of a fight? Don't they die anyways? Because they're going to say, time out, I'm not evil anymore?
So, yeah, this has been the question. For each of them, Jamie Foxx, if he goes back to their fight, he was talking about when he was getting uploaded into the grid and he thought he was getting all this energy, and then he was like, oh, wait, no, I was going to die.
Yeah.
So you sent him back as a human into that. Is he just going to get electrocuted and die?
So I'm just like, when do they get sent back? Do they get sent back before they fight Spider-Man? Because then I don't know. I don't understand. Like, when in time do they go back?
And then I was like, Dr. Octopus is going to die anyway, because in Spider-Man 2, he didn't die a bad guy. He had already converted in Spider-Man 2. Now, he came through before then, but he's still going to have to drown out his little fusion reaction thing that's growing too big and going to destroy the planet. So,
yeah.
He's gonna die again. You didn't save him. Sandman didn't die anyway, and neither did the lizard. So I don't know why
Yeah.
we had to. Well, you should cure the lizard, but Sandman, why? There was
Yeah.
no point.
So
Yeah,
I
he
guess it
can't
was
walk
my
out.
yeah. So that was kind of my question, and then I was also thinking, which is why this movie loses points for me. Was it worth it? Like, how many people died in that condo building?
Mm-hmm.
How many people lost their homes? Right? How much money and damages did you cause to save four people who's not even from this world?
Which is why he should have listened to Doctor Strange in the first place.
Yes. Press the button and just end it all.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, I get the lesson that he needed to learn, and I get like I get the lessons she was teaching him, but I do feel like she was kind of in the wrong with like telling him he should try and cure them first. It's not.
Yeah.
He was actually right. Like they need to go back, and Doctor Strange is right. It's like, look, you whatever happens to them in their universe, they need to go back there. Because then
Yeah.
again, what's the implication? Let's say they all do live. What implication do you have on that universe for having them going back and living?
Yeah. Like, how does that affect it? Like, how does that affect the Spider-Man?
Yeah.
Like, they were shaped by the things that
True.
happened to them. So it was just all of that. Like, I think like Aunt May Hart was in the right, but she like you talking about a world you don't understand. Like he's fighting villains and monsters and stuff. This is not a guy on the street that you need to help.
Yeah.
And I feel like he need to be like, look, this is a whole nother thing than what you're talking about. Like, especially if Green Goblin was sincere when he went to Aunt May, then that's one thing.
I
And
think
it's like,
he
okay,
was. I think that was actually Norman Osborn.
right. So then I get her to say, like, hey, you can help him, but that does not mean I'm not about to send this dude back for real either.
Yeah.
Like, I just nah.
Yeah. Just send him
Feel
back.
it.
Because like they were taken from their fights with Spider-Man, so they get sent back in the fights. They're gonna die.
Yeah.
Norman Osborn, as
Right.
normal human now, is gonna get stabbed by his glider again.
Yeah, I just that and
When
it's
do
like, okay,
the
I'm not
Spider-Man go back? Because Tobey Maguire got stabbed and needed help standing
yeah,
up. So it's like, when do the Spider-Man go back?
yeah, I
I
don't
don't
know.
even know when they were taken from. They were taken from, like, I guess present day in their
Right.
universe.
Because they were a lot older.
Yeah.
So like their fights with these villains were probably 20 years before. So yeah, I don't know. That and just I just feel like all the damage you cause and like
Yeah.
I feel like at least 10 people probably died in that condo or
I think they
more.
said 12, didn't they? 12 people died, including Aunt May.
Yeah, so I don't know if that was the number or not. I don't remember, but yeah, you killed a lot of people to save four. Just I don't know, it's not worth it.
Doctor Strange was right.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he actually did it in the end, but like you said, at what cost?
Yeah.
And I understand. And like I was mentioning, I understand the lesson, which was an appropriate lesson, just maybe not for like these people. I don't know.
Yeah. It's a little strange.
Yeah. But no, I can understand that problem with the plot. That's an understandable issue.
Yeah. So I had a hard time getting over that, but that was my last nitpick. Now we can rate the movie.
Okay. I'm gonna rate this. Ooh, man. How should I rate this? I'm gonna rate it greatest movie ever. Like the
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and rate it greatest movie ever. Don't rate a lot of movies this, but like the feeling that I had the night after I saw the movie, and then the next day going like, yeah, I definitely want to see this again. I think that's just a testament for
Yeah,
how good the movie was.
you can't just call that a high pay for that. Like that's not
Yeah,
definitely higher level. Like I'm definitely putting it, greatest movie ever because it was dope, man. Every movie has its problems, but this one, it was dope.
it was dope. Della?
What you thinking, Della?
So going into this, I said I would do it one less than whatever you guys gave it. So
Okay,
Why?
why?
I can't get over the plot. I'm sorry. It bothers me.
But why does it
So
have to be one less than what we gave it? Like you could just give it your own rating.
oh well, in that case, just watch my folding clothes because I'll
Watch
never
while
watch this
folding.
again.
What? Okay, that's insane. But all
See, you
right,
should just let me do one less than whatever
no,
you
I want your
give
true
it.
rating. I want
Oh, well
your
then just
true
watch my
rating.
folding clothes.
Okay. Well, look, everybody has their opinion on the movies. This is also the person that doesn't like Guardians of the Galaxy, so you know.
What a great movie.
That is true.
Uh, Weird, but
She's
okay.
the weird one.
Uh,
Not the weird one. Whatever.
However, she is outnumbered, so 3D Rivals is gonna rank this greatest movie ever because this is good. If I were to rank this, this is really gonna upset Della, but I'm gonna put this along the lines with Captain America: Civil War. This was a very good movie.
That
Damn, she. Yeah.
is a deep take. I figured you would put it high. A lot of people for the reviews I've been looking at has put it high. I'm fine with that. I do realize I am in the minority here who don't absolutely love this movie, which is fine. To put it with Winter Soldier though is
I didn't put it
I
with
don't know
Winter
about that.
Soldier. I put it with Civil War.
Oh, okay, I'm fine with that.
Okay, yeah. Winter Soldier is still my favorite movie.
Okay,
Okay,
all right,
and it's
all
not
right,
it's not an in game. It's not an Infinity War. Okay, we're not going that route.
okay.
Okay, I'm not tripping, but it's a very good movie. And like when I got Civil War, I watched that movie a few days in a row. Right, I can do that with this movie. That's why I was like, yeah, this is about a Civil War. I can figure out if it's above or below it, so I'm gonna put it at even pace there.
Okay. See, I feel like I'm never gonna watch this movie again.
All right.
So, yeah. Sorry.
That's okay. That's all right. All right. Well, with that being said, we have our ratings. We have our rankings. If you haven't seen Spider-Man No Way Home, you definitely should not have been listening to this. This is weird. Because
Why are you still here?
yeah, why are you still here? What's wrong with you? But if you have seen it, go see it again. Because it's a good movie, unless you're Della. Uh, but with that being said, we'd like to thank all of you guys for watching and listening. If you're listening to this in podcast form, make sure you leave a like and subscribe and leave a rating on wherever you're listening to the podcast. And as always, again, thank you so much, guys. We appreciate it. Peace out.